action.
Good morning and welcome to our class play, taking you through the events leading up to the American War of Independence. We start with, it was the night of March 5th, 1770. Private Hugh White was on guard duty outside the Custom House in Boston. He was soon joined by a group of jeering boys who didn't seem to mind the extreme cold.
Just look at him waltzing up and down in his fine uniform.
Anyone would think he had nothing better to do.
Always suggest you find something better to do. Be off.
Is that a threat, Mr. Lobster Bat?
You mind your tongue, young man, or
Or what, Mr. Redcoat, or what?
don't push your luck, Sonny.
What you gonna do?
You wouldn't go firing at innocent civilians now, would you?
That sure would get you in a heap of trouble. Us being there, boys.
And so looks like you're stuck.
I wouldn't bet on it. You come another step nearer and you'll be sorry.
He's bluffing.
You reckon? Take that, you insolent fool!
Hey, get off him.
That's assault. You wait till I tell my dad.
So these young troublemakers rushed off with news of their assault, and it wasn't long before Private White was faced with a very angry-looking mob. Nearby the fire axe, under the command of Captain Thomas Preston became aware of the escalating crisis and rushed to White's aid.
What's this we hear about you attacking young innocent boys?
These redcoats think they could get away with anything.
Time someone taught them a lesson.
Now, men, let's not get overexcited.
Talk about spoiling for a fight.
Now, men, let's try and calm this situation down, not make it worse.
It's hard to think of things getting any worse.
With an army of occupation in your hometown, I'll call that as bad as it gets.
We've had enough. Let's show them what we're made of.
And with that, the crowd surged forward, and things became very ugly.
This is madness. Stand back. Stand back, I tell you.
And how are you going to make us?
Come on then, let's see what you're made of.
I can only see this going one way.
Stay calm. Hold your ground.
But at that moment, Preston saw one of his men fall. His gun went off, and then total confusion reigned. Shots were heard, and Gray fell down dead, followed shortly by 4 others. Patriots such as Samuel Adams were quick to call it a massacre. Fortunately for those brought before the courts, justice prevailed.
Just look at those murderers. They all deserve to swing.
Silence in court. I'm here today to see these men get a free trot. Not one driven by emotion and highly charged patriotism.
Nothing wrong with a bit of patriotism. Maybe certain people around here could do with remembering whose side they're on.
I have a job to do and I'm going to do it. Not stoop to the same kind of injustice you're accusing them of.
Huh? That would be difficult. Are men slaughtered in an act of mindless violence?
I hope you cold-blooded.
Murderers aren't trying to pass the blame. Excuse me, but murder is not the charge here.
Indeed, they are innocent of murder.
But guilty of manslaughter. 5 innocents dead. What's the difference?
Just the question of intent. Who knows who was to blame for these deaths when there was such confusion at the scene of the crime?
None of us could work out what was happening. Even when those gunshots were fired. Nobody had any idea where they had came from.
But 2 of the victims, Cadwell and Maverick, were just innocent bystanders. They didn't deserve to die.
And my men don't deserve to be punished for something nobody could prove that they have done.
So you're saying your men had no blood on their hands?
Nobody is saying nobody fired those shots. These men will be punished.
What? With just having their thumbs branded, some justice.
And we are truly sorry for the loss of lives, but sometimes it's just the cause of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, that tux practically ran into our guns.
But nobody's saying he or a gray car, Cadwell, or Maverick deserve to die. Undoubtedly, they will go down in history as martyrs to their cause.
And indeed they did. Theirs was the ultimate sacrifice, laying their lives down for their cause, whether deliberately or not. Shortly afterwards, the British troops were forced to return to the barracks at Castle William, Boston Harbor, recognizing that the people of Boston were no pushover, and of course there was more to come.
Yes, you've guessed. On November 11, 1773, a ship called the Dartmouth sailed into Boston Harbor. Nothing unusual about that, you might think. But just over a month later, its cargo of tea plus that of 2 other cargo ships lay at the bottom of the sea.
What a wonderful sight. Just look at the beautiful ship, the Dharma. How proud the East Indian Company must be to have such a vessel.
And how lucky am I to work for that company? Thanks for getting me the job, Dad.
Mom, all very fine for those East Indian Company employees.
Yeah, they have a total monopoly on selling tea over here.
Talk about biased laws. How are the rest of us meant to make a living?
Tough luck, mate. With the tea tax and the East Indian Company stronghold on the tea market, I guess you best find yourself another way to make a living.
Yeah, another example of the British throwing their weight around. Did they really think the people of Boston would give up without a fight?
Not likely. We'll not have anything forced upon us, least of all a cup of tea.
We'll buy it from whom we please and at a price we like.
We won't be dictated to from a power thousands of miles across the ocean.
If they want to send us tea from across the ocean, let them drink it from the bottom of the ocean.
And how will you achieve that, brother?
Hush, not a word to anyone. Trust me, you'll see.
So moves were afoot to make life just a little less comfortable for the East Indian companies and its ships. These were certainly not going to go down a treat with the ship owners.
This is preposterous. How much longer must I stand on my ship, still fully loaded with tea?
Somebody got out of bed the wrong side this morning.
Did I forget to add some sugar this morning, sir?
No, my tea was just fine. I don't need a cargo full to get me out of bed in the morning.
The problem is getting unloaded, sir.
Yes, I rather gathered that, but why?
Well, the locals are refusing to cooperate, sir.
What do you mean?
They're refusing to allow the tea to leave the ship. Anyone who tries to do so will be tarred and feathered.
But what of the Eleanor and Beaver? They are due here any minute. They'll want to unload their tea as well.
And they'll just have to sit tight as well. It doesn't look like any tea is going to leave this harbor.
So with 3 ships sitting in the harbor unable to load their tea, it was time the royal governor, Thomas Hutchinson, stepped in to assert his authorities.
So what's going on here? All that tea sitting on my harbor? Well, we can't have that. Unload it immediately.
Sometimes these men in high positions just aren't blessed with the gift of listening. But even after he had the situation explained to him yet again, Hutchinson still stubbornly refused to act.
Send those 3 ships back from where they came from. Never if these Bostonians, dock workers, won't unload the tea. I'll have my army do it. I hereby announce December 17th to be the deadline. After that, there will be no further delay, and we'll see just how effective my army can be.
So it was time for countermeasures. The Son of Liberty had plans of their own. On the evening of December 16th, a meeting was called at the Old South Meeting House with Speaker Samuel Adams, John Hancock, and Josiah Quincy. A crowd of around 7,000 gathered as Adams ordered Roch to permission from Thomas Hutchinson to return his cargo to England. This order, not surprisingly, was refused.
So, the governor has refused. So be it. No one can save me to Detroit. This meeting is over. This meeting can do nothing to save the country.
And amidst cheers and cries for justice, a strange-looking band of men dressed up as Mohawk Indians set off for the Griffin's Wharf, where the 3 ships were docked.
Come on, guys. Time to unload these ships. Get yourself into 3 groups. Me and the lads will take the Dartmouth.
We'll take the Eleanor.
And you'll take the Beaver. Hey, I hope you'll be careful with my ship.
I'll rest assured, sir. They'll take the greatest care.
No harm will come to any of the ships.
Well, I'm not sure about the uniforms, but if they're prepared to unload.
That's just what we're going to do. Into the ocean.
Hey, wait a minute. That wasn't the deal.
Deal? I don't remember any deal. You said unload my tea, and that's just what we've done.
But I didn't mean like this. Oh, the waste. How could you?
What? 242 chests overboard in 3 hours? Yeah. It'll keep you going.
Oh, that's nice.
Job well done, eh?
I'll say just one of our guys. Injured.
And everybody stuck to their task.
Well, all except one caught trying to steal some tea. Claimed it was for his missus.
A lame excuse. Don't suppose she was impressed when he returned home, stripped of his clothes.
Nothing to what I have done. Had I got my hands on a big lot of you 10,000 pounds worth of tea. Gone.
And not a trace of it left on the deck. You'll be pleased to know.
That's right, all cleaned up, spick and span, not a tea leaf left in sight.
Unless you look all little over your side. Saying about the low tide, the locals must have a bit of a shock.
They were probably more used to having rum thrown over the side of these ships.
Especially on a Saturday night.
I expect they're teetotalers now, though.
You might laugh, but not for much longer. You won't be getting away with this.
And it's true, they didn't. There might have been celebrations in the town that night.
Rally, Mohawks, bring out your axes. Let's tell King George we'll pay no taxes.
But the celebrations were short-lived. Boston was put under military control, and the intolerable acts lived up to their name. But those colonies didn't give up. There was plenty more fighting spirit in them.
Listen,
My children, and you shall hear the midnight cry of Paul Revere.
On the night of April 18th, 1775, Paul Revere was getting himself ready for the ride of his life.
This is it. I'm off to warn my fellow countrymen that the regulars are coming. First stop, Christ Church.
What news?
General Gage is taking 9 regiments across the Charles River.
So that means by sea. My cue to put 2 lanterns up in the steeple.
Correct. Make sure they're shining clear and bright so our men get the message. So long. I must be off to get a good way ahead those Brits.
Good luck. Be safe and Godspeed.
Thank you.
And with that, Paul Revere set off on his mission to warn Samuel Adams and Hancock of Lexington, and they would be taken prisoner if they stayed there, and to warn the local concord that their stores of ammunition and arms would be taken if they did not hide them away. But before he got to those 2 towns, he had to cross the Charles River in the pitch dark.
Hey, shush you lot. What are you trying to alert King George's men or something?
Evening, sir. Ready when you are.
Excellent. What a fine night. Plenty of moonlight to see by.
And to be seen by.
Let's hope those watchmen aboard the HMS Somerset had a rubber too many.
Yeah, because if they catch wind of our whereabouts, we're sunk.
No, absolutely hush.
Not a word till we get to the other side.
Meanwhile, the second rider to set off that night when William Dawes was having problems of his own.
Halt. Who goes there?
Who goes there? I was told I'd be crossing Boston Neck, not getting it in the neck.
State your business.
Mind your own, all these questions.
For which I need answers.
Well, I'm on my way home. Is that good enough for you?
Where have you been other than down the local lane?
Well, let's see. When I set off this morning, yes, I've been out at market all day.
And we can see how you've been spending your earnings. Be on your way, you scoundrel.
Phew, a narrow escape.
And Paul Revere wasn't having it any easier. Once he'd got safely over the Charles River and onto his waiting horse, he was spotted and chased. Luckily, he got away, still managing to find enough breath to yell.
The regulars are out.
And he wasn't referring to the regulars spitting out from those local inns. Oh no, those 700, 800 British troops have their own orders and meant to carry them out.
Lucky I got to Lexington before they did.
So, shame about the reception you got from your own side.
Hold it right there.
Get out of my way, man. Don't you know who I am?
I don't care if you're King George himself. You're not going anywhere without my permission.
Out of my way, you fool.
What's all this
Noise, you'll have noise enough before long. The regulars are coming out.
My word, you say, what this man
So Revere succeeded in getting both the enemy and his own side.
Good heavens, what is going on?
Why am I disturbed from my sleep at this unearthly hour?
Your lives are in danger. You must go from here before the regulars arrive.
And why is there a whole army come to arrest us?
Because they have learned our supplies at Concord. We can't wait to lay their hands on them. And you, so please get yourselves away. We must be on our way.
But we just got here.
That's because I took the longer route. I don't suppose that'll get a mention in that Longfellow's poem. Bit long on verse and short on historical fact, if you ask me.
I don't believe anyone did.
Now come on, gentlemen. Now is not the time to squabble poetry.
This is going to be history. Stay away.
Cheerio, tally-ho.
And so our two heroes galloped off toward Concord, meeting one Dr. Samuel Prescott on the way. Just a short time later, Revere was captured. Dawes lost his horse, and it was up to Prescott to carry on to Concord.
Oh, so much for those lines in Paul Revere's ride. It was 2 by the village clock when he came to the bridge in Concord town. That wasn't Revere, that was me.
It's true. After being captured, I was later released, but without a horse, so I had to walk my way back to Lexington. It was Dr. Prescott here to achieve the last part of my mission.
Meanwhile, back in Lexington.
Okay, man. You know what to expect. Make sure you're ready with William Diamond here. Sounds your alarm.
Missing out for this roll on my drum.
Don't be lingering. Wherever you may be, Dutchland, Tavern, or home, the green is where I expect to see you. Don't forget your musket balls and powder. get them from the town meeting house if you need to.
And so it was just after 5 a.m. when 600 British troops under
Colonel?
Colonel Francis Smith and Major John Pitcairn marched into Lexington. Yay, guns, yay, rebel, dying to disperse.
Okay, men, don't guard unless fired upon. We're outnumbered 10 to 1. Perhaps we should disperse.
At which point a shot rang out. Nobody will ever know which side it came from, but the results were disastrous.
Stop, hold your fire. I don't think anyone can hear you.
Withdraw.
And so 8 Americans died and 14 wounded, but events took a rather different turn in Concord.
Thank goodness that Prescott fellow warned us all our supplies are safely stashed away where those Brits will never find them.
Time to take on the enemy. Ready, men?
But when the Concord commander saw how many men they were up against, they ordered their men back to a ridge overlooking the town. Meanwhile, the British troops searched high and low for the missing ammunition, wrecking property as they went until, in their recklessness, they started a fire which doused with water turned into smoke, convincing the Concord militia that their town was being burnt to the ground. As before at Lexington, confusion broke out once the troops confronted each other on North Bridge, and shots were fired again. Nobody will ever know who fired first.
Smith.
3 men down, back to Boston.
Pity our captain didn't listen when we were said to go back to Boston when we were in Lexington.
We could have saved ourselves one very undignified retreat.
All the way from.
All the way from Concord.
Pick off one by those cowardly tactics. So very effective.
Hiding behind walls and bushes. How were we supposed to fight against a hiding enemy?
You weren't. That was just the point. Sitting ducks.
Excellent target practice.
Only this was the real thing.
Lucky for us, Lord Percy showed up with reinforcements. None of us would ever have made it back to Boston otherwise.
And how quickly news of these events spread. Thanks to yet another writer. One Israel Bissell shouted.
To arms, to arms, the war has begun. I rode 4 days and 6 hours over 345 miles between Watertown, Massachusetts and Philadelphia, then back to Connecticut.
My first horse collapsed and died from exhaustion. I'm surprised I didn't. Oh, and about that poem, where I'd like to know, was there any mention of me? Oh dear, that Longfellow fellow sure made himself a lot of enemies from these disgruntled writers. It's a shame he couldn't have included them all in that famous poem of his.
But then he couldn't have named it after me.
True, it would have had rather a long title.
And it would have been a lot harder to write. But hey, let's not fall out, gentlemen, over who I include and who I didn't. Let's leave the conflict to the battlefield.
Yeah, and so to end as we begun, Mr. Longfellow, would you be so kind?
Certainly, for born on the night, wind of the past, through all our history to the last in the hour of the darkness, when peril candid, ye the people will waken and listen to hear the rearing hoofbeats of that steed of the midnight message of Paul Revere.
And that brings our play to an end. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Everybody clap.